Hello everyone. Today we are back with another masterclass on a very interesting topic of zero waste lifestyle. And to discuss about that, we have a very special guest, Seher Mansoor, the founder of Bare Necessities, with us today. Hi Seher, it's a pleasure having you here with us. We would love to have a bit of background introduction about you from yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that introduction and thank you so much for having me. I'm Seher Mansoor. I am a climate optimist. I am zero waster, an advocate for kind of plastic-free, low-impact living. And I think that's kind of the one of the solutions and one of the ways that we can all be part of the solution to kind of reimagine a greener, more just world. Academically, I've obsessed about environmental studies for a really long time. I studied at Loyola Marymount University, a small liberal arts school in Los Angeles. And then I studied in Cambridge University, where I studied environmental law and economics. Following that, I spent some time at the World Health Organization. And particularly, I spent time in a replantation drive with this organization called Tree People in Los Angeles post all of the forest fires. It was amazing. You just in nature, you can see little snow-capped mountains in the background, and you're planting these saplings. I watched one short documentary of this lady named Bea Johnson, and she was had this little jar of all of the waste that she had produced, and I remember being really inspired. Then fast forward a few more years, I moved back home in Bangalore, and I started to work in a solar energy company, and we worked on various kind of interventions to basically solarize agri equipment for farmers. We solarize public health centers and hospitals, small PHCs in rural Karnataka primarily. We worked on a boat clinic in an area where there was no immediate access to health, and people would often take a boat to get health access, and in the interim would unfortunately lose a lot of lives. So this little boat ambulance on the boat itself, we kind of solarize those needs. So we really worked on very, very decentralized, small solutions, bottom of the pyramid that actually really impact and create some sort of, just meaning and impact. Primarily working with communities that don't have energy access anywhere from 5, 10, 20 hours. Really that meant solarizing and putting lights for home lighting systems, for education, for smaller entrepreneurs to make sewing, kurtas, all of that. And through that work, actually got assigned to work with the waste picker community, which was um, very close to Bangalore International Airport. And to me, this kind of stark inequality was so evident. Here you are, smart city of Bangalore, this huge fancy international airport, and not absolutely not far away was this community that was living primarily in blue top homes, informal housing, and basically didn't have access to anything like citizenship, all of that. And essentially, we worked on a solar model there. We put solar panels on their tea stall. They came in the morning, kind of plugged in their battery for charge, went out for a day's work, came back and had a fully charged battery that they'd plug into their solar lantern. And while I was working with this community, I got to really kind of become friends with them, know them by name, how many kids they have, how often they go back home, all of that. And then I would kind of follow them on my cycle around Bangalore between basically 5 and 9 a.m. before my work started. And that's when I really kind of started to think about the social justice issues associated with our waste problem, right? And this kind of challenged me again because I had been looking from an environmental perspective, health perspective, almost very elitist academic perspective with very little knowledge of grassroots, to be very honest. And it was such a good experience because I feel like I really understood what was happening from a more ground up perspective. And I just thought back to that crazy video I watched in my college, and I said, I'm going to try that crazy thing. I'm going to try living a zero waste or low impact lifestyle. And yeah, that's how I began on this journey. I very much loved my full-time job. I was doing this on the side, on weekends. It was my side hustle. It was just about making information around waste and sustainability just super fun and accessible. I never kind of set out to set up an enterprise. And it slowly, 2 years down the line, when it was my side hustle, I remember kind of getting nervous to ask my boss, can I please have the day off to do a sustainability talk at Google or, XYZ. And then that's when I realized, okay, you know what, I'm 25. If I don't try it, setting up this social enterprise now in the work in the waste space. When will I try? And that's how I started Bare Necessities, which is kind of a one-stop shop for all things zero waste. So we have everything from bamboo toothbrushes, compostable bamboo straws, stainless steel straws, handcrafted soaps, menstrual cups, detergents that are kind of chemical free, natural, just body things like liquid soaps and detergents. The idea is to kind of be this one stop shop of everything for your barest necessities, and everything's packaged in an earth friendly manner. So using only recyclable, reusable, or fully compostable packaging. We also use paper tape, which is 10 times the price of plastic tape, for example, to really kind of stick to our values. And yeah, I think beyond just selling products, I think workshops, talks, and educations have been kind of the heart of what we do as well. And that's a little bit about the my story and the necessity story.
That is like so inspiring, the basic, like from where you've sort of caught that idea, it's actually the ground reality which actually hit you, and then you started with Bare Necessities. So what tips would you give, as you've been practicing zero waste lifestyle from 2.5 3 years? So what would you actually tell us? Because when we talk about zero waste lifestyle, it comes as a little complex term, or like I would say it seems like, okay, it's a bit difficult to implement. So is it really that, or how, like, or we can just take a foot, how we can take a foot forward towards it?
I think that's a great kind of question that you're posing. And I think one is to really think about the power of our action because they do have an impact. I mean, quick and easy tips and tricks. First thing you do when you wake up in the morning, presumably is brush your teeth. So you can use a compostable bamboo toothbrush, or you can use a miswak stick or a neem stick, which are perhaps more accessibly priced for everyone. It's like 20 or 30 rupees. Or you can use coconut oil, which is really great for a process of oil pulling, which kind of dates back to ancient Ayurveda. And also, actually, the miswak stick and neem stick, you can see traits of it in the Indus Valley civilization and the Babylonian civilization. So they're really humankind's first ever toothbrushes, versus the ones that we get today that are made from multi-layered plastic, impossible to recycle. You know, plastic takes about 700 years to start disintegrating, never fully does, just breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces of microplastic, landing in our oceans. There's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2050. We're on an average, on a weekly basis, kind of consuming about a credit card size worth of plastic each week. I mean, like microplastics are found in even unborn babies today. So this is kind of the scale at which where currently plastic has invaded our economy, sure, one thing, but also our lifestyle. So it's really important to kind of be mindful of our actions. So first thing you do in the morning is brush your teeth, clean your dental routine. You can also use stainless steel tongue cleaners. So you just need one for your lifetime. To buy a very good stainless steel, you want rust or anything, just make sure to keep it dry and do a little upkeep. Similar with bamboo, just wipe down um, your base with a dry towel to maintain like it being a little dry and kind of avoiding the excess moisture. So those are quick ones. In our personal care routine, you can try and use more handcrafted soaps that are coming in a completely package free or are just kind of wrapped up with paper that's easily compostable, not consuming the ones that come in big plastic that you have to keep buying every month because just think about it, in your lifetime you produce easily about 300 odd little bottles. So really kind of being mindful of your um, soaps and shampoos that you're using, because quite honestly, most people can't even pronounce like 5 ingredients that are listed on the back of those ingredients, of those kind of everyday FMCG products that we're so used to consuming. So, support that small entrepreneur in your building, maybe an auntie who's making soaps, etc. Try making your own if you have time or you are looking for a creative outlet. It's quite a wonderful experience to do so. or just go back to your roots. Using shikakai, henna, soap nuts. Those are all kind of really, really great for hair. Or just support your, values and consumption choices by supporting small businesses that are creating sustainable solutions if you don't have the time to make it. Because I totally appreciate it can be, another thing to add to your to-do list, and I totally appreciate that everyone is extremely busy, so might not have the time to make it. But lucky for us, there are lots of solutions out there and lots of people trying to create these clean, amazing solutions. Um, the other thing about like our personal care routine, I think for women is menstrual cups are amazing. They're made from medical grade silicone. They've been using it since the 1920s with no negative health impacts associated with it. You can find, you can do a different kind of folds, and once you go up, it just basically opens up. You can do a C fold as well. And again, once it's up, again, it opens up. You can use it for about 12 hours. It's basically the size of kind of like a shot glass. It's like, and on an average, women only kind of bleed about 25 ml to 30 ml. So you can use it for way many more hours. You can use it for 10, 15 years, depending on the make of the product. So this is really, really amazing. And it also helps you save money. So it's like in your lifetime, you have a one-time investment. In your lifetime, you're not spending on those disposables every month, and really kind of anywhere from upwards of 2 lakh rupees can be saved by using a menstrual cup. So it makes economic sense, it makes environmental sense, and it makes health sense as well, because plastic pads typically have about 7 to 9 plastic bags in them. They never fully disintegrate, and then kind of tampons have toxic shock syndrome associated with it. And cotton is often bleached to be white. Again, lots of the chemical treatment. Those are just unwanted chemicals that you're inserting into your body. So menstrual cups are really, really amazing. The next thing is I think a lot of people use, wet wipes, whatever, to kind of exfoliate their face or wipe off their makeup. So this is kind of made out of organic cotton wool that you can just crochet yourself, or again support a small business and buy from them. And it's great to just take off your kajal, cleanse your face. You can keep washing it and reusing it, and you don't need to use any of those wet wipes, especially because they're made from multi-materials, so it's impossible to recycle. It's not just, you can't just compost it, you can't just go back to the earth. They're actually going to be living on this planet anywhere of 100 odd years. So this is a great alternative. In your personal care routine, of course, you can also use a loofah. This is made out of sisal. There are some that are made out of some amazing natural materials, to be honest. There's coconut sisal, there's all sorts of amazing materials, so you can use that. You can also use a neem comb. It's actually really beneficial for the health of your scalp, and it avoids any kind of dandruff, etc., from also coming. So instead of using 100 odd plastic combs in your life, you just need one good neem comb. And this is made out of reclaimed neem, so it's not like a tree is cut for it. It's kind of excess wood, and that's how it's made. So these are some quick wins in your personal care routine. But of course, there are other aspects of your life, and I'm happy to share some of the tips as you can get back to going into office. Always carry your own water bottle. It's something so easy to do and can avoid all of those plastic bottles of water that we really don't need. So carry that. A stainless steel tiffin, carry your own lunch, whatever kind of dabba you have, doesn't have to be stainless steel, but carry your own lunch in dabba. But also just carrying a dabba. So in case you're on the road and get tempted and want to buy something, instead of taking something to go or using that single-use thing, you can always use this. Similarly, if you carry your own straw, you can also kind of carry it in this little pouch together, so you can just kind of roll it up. And have this in your glove compartment, your bag, just anywhere. Keep it in a couple of bags. Keep it in your office bag. So in case you are going somewhere, you can have nariyal pani or cocktail, whatever you want, using your own straw. which can be more hygienic, and then also you're not kind of contributing to this waste pandemic. Most straws that we use, we literally sip on that drink for like 10 minutes, and then 700 years for the straw to kind of start disintegrating. Similarly, you can carry your own cutlery from your house, whatever you have at home, or you can again buy it from small businesses that exist. You can also use, coconut scrubbies or just wooden kind of based tawa scrubbies for your dishes. So you don't need to use sponges. Those sponges actually are quite synthetic. They're also impossible to recycle. So these are some great alternatives for your products. Yeah, those are some of my quick wins. Always carry a cloth bag. We have a little, we've taken an old t-shirt and made a cloth bag out of it. So again, keep them everywhere in your bag, in your car. So this is a beeswax food wrap. So instead of using aluminum foil or plastic cling film, you can just use this. And it basically takes the shape of practically anything. So I'm just going to use this as a reference point because a lot of us might have kitchen bowls or anything. You might have half an apple, and that's it. You just basically fold it up. It takes the shape of practically any container. You can wrap a sandwich, you can wrap a bowl, you can wrap half a fruit. So here's kind of a little bit about the beeswax wrap. So yeah, these are some quick alternatives that we can all kind of incorporate into our everyday life.
That was such an amazing and a beautiful insight that I got from you. And I think the beeswax wrap that you just showed, like in the morning, it was my first question to a friend of mine, and I was like, "What alternative can I use?" And I'm getting the answer like today by you. So thank you so much for that. And I think like just I was just mentioning that it's a complex process, or is it like difficult to implement? I think it's quite enjoyable. It is very creative, and I think also it's like we need to go to our roots, like going back to our roots, where like you just showed the t-shirt or anything like that our mothers or our grandmothers, they would just do, and they still do, making things out of the kapra which we are not using, and they are too creative with that. So it's like a great thing, and I'm sure the viewers are going to definitely go like and go buy stuff like this and start getting that change. And also I think it will be really great to give this as a gift to somebody, like
Absolutely. They make such great gifts. It also shows that you thought about someone, you took the time, energy to make something out of your with your own hands. So definitely, I think there is a wind or tide, whatever you might want to call it, of people basically not really excited about consumeristic gifts anymore and really valuing experiences over stuff. Some of my favorite gifts that I've gotten is my friend gave me scuba diving when I graduated college. To go and kind of be in the ocean. I think some of the best things I've done for my mom for her birthdays and stuff is, planning a picnic in Cumberland Park. So those don't have to be expensive, but they can be thoughtful, they can be handmade, they can be gifting an experience rather than something that's just going to sit in your cupboard and catch dust or something.
So the thought is very mutual when you are saying gifting an experience is what I 100% believe in. So I am surely going to gift an experience to my siblings or my friends in the coming days. So it's highly inspiring to be talking to you like here for this masterclass, and I'm sure the viewers are going to take a lot from this class, and we're looking forward to doing a lot more sessions like these, where people can get an insight, and they can actually think about action now. Like I said in the starting of the conversation, that we really need to come to an action rather than just talking about it. So thank you so much, Seher, for coming for this session. It was a pleasure having you here with us. And any message that you would want to give to the viewers at last, for like what they can just go and start with. Any message that you would want to give?
Yeah, honestly, I think it is to slow down and be mindful, and to try and basically give a better planet to our future generations in the state in which we found it, would be my more philosophical kind of takeaways. My more first step and immediate step is, if anyone's interested to learn more about zero waste and sustainability, feel free to grab the book or check out just the blogs that are on our website that encourage you to kind of just slow down and think about our everyday, whether it is, greening our holidays, greening our kitchens, how do we commute, how can we go green when we travel. So those are kind of elements that are listed in the book, also on our blog. Like, read more. I think knowledge is just so powerful, and that'll be the first step in kind of your low impact journey. And it's like any other journey of health and wellness, which is way more talked about. But I think this is just as important, and it's just as much of a transformation from within. And yeah, so I just encourage more and more people to join the movement, and to begin living a more low impact lifestyle. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for thinking of me and Bare Necessities.